All right, we'll call this meeting to order. The first item of business is the minutes from March 7th. You all have a chance to look at it.
It was fun.
Jim's got it signed. All right. So that's ready to be recorded. Item 2 is the provisional ballot hearing on the primary in March 5th.
So this would be if anyone attends our meeting to
Anyone?
say anything, so I don't think anyone is here and we're 9:08, so.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go on to provisional ballot canvas and tabulation.
Okay, so we have 4 early vote provisionals that we can count, 9 election day provisionals to count, plus the one that we have to remake. And then we have 5 absentee provisionals we can count, plus 5 that we need to canvass for UOCAVA.
Oh, okay.
So we'll work through that process and count. So the reason you have this for you to initial really just the front page is to show this is our starting number today before we add anything to it.
That's our zero take.
Exactly,
Yeah.
basically. And so, so what that reflects is we'll add in these results into these categories. And that's where, when I was doing the math to make sure everything turns out,
Right.
is when I noticed that this number,
There was a variation.
yeah, and everything is completely in here. And, so we're not missing anything by any means at all. So when I finish, we will run a new results for you to sign, and then this should reflect what we're adding in. So we'll just go ahead and start.
Do we have any other UOCAVAs that are still out?
Yes, there are still some that tomorrow morning or tomorrow before the meeting, we would need to canvass. But we do have 5 right now that we can go ahead and canvass and get those added and get those remade.
Okay.
So I'm going to start on the early vote provisionals, run those through. I'll let you guys canvass the 5 that are in there. And then Debbie, I'll need you to remake the one election day ballot that we have. So this is right here, the election day one, and it will punch out.
Okay, fine, so.
We had 3 of our absentees, we didn't have ID that brought their IDs back. And I called all of the absentees and talked to them about that, they can certainly bring them back, but they also have to explain to them what we needed to do for the general election to make sure that they got their ID. And one of the ladies lives in an assisted care facility, and so I talked to her about because she doesn't have any other, she didn't have a state issued ID, but making sure that we would get the form to the assisted care facility so that they would have it. And that allows her to vote.
When you talk to those voters, do you make a second effort to go to the whoever is the person that runs the facility, so that in case the voter forgets, the residential facility person remembers?
Yeah.
As if, I mean, that, you're asking a lot, I guess.
Well, so what we do is, she was the only one that identified herself as living in a assisted care facility.
Okay.
So the other individuals, I suspect, either still live at home.
Yeah.
And then, but I do have, she gave me the number for the person who's their activities director.
Okay.
So I have that on my calendar to reach out to that individual closer to when absentees go
Yeah.
out, kind of, in the middle of the summer.
Okay.
So I've already placed that on my calendar so that, I will contact her to make sure they have the right forms.
Yeah, that's, I mean, there's a long time between now and November.
Yes.
So,
Oh, but that one's because they want to verify.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we'll need to stamp them too, the stamps are over there. We folded it under because there's voter information on there. Yeah, just learn nothing but. Even can read these, that, and just put it back.
Yeah.
And you want to read.
Just keep the five and I'll be able to-
Yeah, the other ones are in here. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
stamps over there next to the so press.
Oh, they're over there, okay.
You want me to hold those ones too? No, but just wrap the rejected ones in the. Okay.
I will stamp in the one you remade or the one.
We'll stamp the duplicate after we run it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to run the,
Well, then,
and this is, we need the other one that
Cancel.
says cancel, or says, original.
I don't wanna initial something where I said because.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
Signature.
No, these are good.
This one has, yeah, that one
Right.
has to be original.
I'm gonna hold it like this since the overtime submission is on there, that's all right.
Yes, yes, you.
Increase, oh, this one, so. Even Valley one, or you can put 18, 233.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was just trying to keep them separate, not letting Jim see it.
Oh, that's okay.
You don't have a persecution complex or anything.
I have a lot of complexes, but ain't one of them. Which over there.
We are, except that you need to initial it, and, I'm not sure that you need to be initialing with this, because it may rub off. But let's give it a try.
This one is ink, it is not gel. This is two, so it will not smear
Oh, it
as
won't
bad.
smear?
Not as bad.
Oh.
Okay.
That's probably 2 pages.
For both of them. And then that other one.
No, it's a 1-page ballot. Oh,
That's the one.
I
Minimum smear.
Here's his letter statement.
So they say, but I'm not sure I always believe that.
No, wait, what you say? Not as bad as.
Okay.
Yeah, not as bad. There you go.
This one back in the envelope, that one put in that bucket, because that's gonna read in with the election day.
Okay. It goes in.
That bucket right there, yes.
Very well, good.
Or not, huh?
Or it would be better to get none. I
Well, I have-
hate getting one.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If that's an issue, I don't know.
Hold up.
I want to call us all.
No,
We can do that.
Sorry, it's not.
Not count the UOCAVs today? And wait and make sure there's not just one tomorrow?
We can, but that will, if we don't get any tomorrow, then we would be able to run our reports. If we, I mean, we can do it either way. If you're okay with our meeting starting at 1 and then us running those in, and then we'll have to print reports. If you're okay with that, then yeah, that we
I
can.
think we should,
Okay.
just to be on the safe side, because I just don't like the
If there's just one that comes
exclusive
back.
one vote thing.
Now, they're all going to run into a bucket, but you're right, on a tape, there will be just one vote.
Yeah.
They have 2 ballots.
And no ID.
Okay,
So it's
so,
not military.
okay, so it's not military.
It's just one outside the country.
Okay, so then that cannot count. Okay.
Bring my easy button, that was easy.
Maybe I'll watch it, but no, there's like.
Oh, do you think the other one's not gonna have a ballot in it?
I think
No.
the other one's gonna be exactly the same, they're brothers, I'm guessing, or husband and wife.
No, RCEY.
For what we call
It has no ID with it, but it's not military overseas. The military overseas and their dependents are not required to return a copy of approved photo ID.
So it's the ID, it's what's called,
The other problem would be the 2 ballots too.
which,
Email them to that.
It's 1 statement and 2 ballots.
and the one we looked at the other day was two statements and 2 ballots.
Yes.
Okay.
Aaron, here's the.
We want to grab the election day, red, bad, and go ahead and do the election and stick in and run the 0.
What happens when you hang around in those pedestrian places and you talk to people? Oh, yeah.
I was like, you're describing.
Thank you, said. Got 2 ballots, no ID.
Oh, no. We have 2 of them.
I think brothers, I'm pretty sure they're brothers.
It's the same one you were talking about, you just was
It's.
stating what note you want to put in.
That's the right one.
Oh, okay.
That's the one that counts. It's
Okay.
this one.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
So we will have, so I have those, you call the ballots, but I also have the, provisionals from absentee as well.
Oh,
You
okay.
want to just wait and run all of that in as one?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay.
Can we get it all teed up so it's quick and easy to do tomorrow?
Yes, we can have the DS 200 already with a 0 to run. We'll go ahead and open the ballots and
Yeah. Today?
get those ready to do so that we can. The only thing that takes a second is, for us to run the tape that the state requires. Because I'll have to go in to the office and do that. So, yeah.
This is Aaron, right?
This is Aaron.
This road off 13185 Colorado Road, Prairie Road, Arkansas, 1775. The birth is May 22nd, 1991. Two years, the next to me. And it's- She did that time, right?
Yes. One more.
Those voters are past the deadline, there's no way for them to.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
that ID, yeah. And with having two ballots in there. I don't think I was. Maybe they thought one would be a run ballot,
Yeah.
because there are the judges race. Had runoffs,
That's true.
but they're the only ones that we've opened that have had two ballots in them that were you and Papa. We only had 6.
Yeah.
That we did election night or credit.
Are we certain they are not military?
It says on there, the only, now, like,
Same
you
addresses.
can,
This is the same address as the brothers.
They're all living together.
so you could open up the ballots
We did.
and there was no ID in them, and they were both the exact same ballot.
Exactly.
And it says that they are citizens overseas, right?
Yeah, it does. It just says citizen living outside the country.
ID requirement is for citizens living outside the country.
That's not military.
I wonder if
They're
they looked it up and it was just, it's got confused with instructions or something, right?
Now, did you say there's 3
At the same address, so there must be students maybe.
That's
Well,
what.
this one is, the birth date of birth is 71, the other one was like 85, and what was the other one? Here's 91. Oh, I'm sorry. Date of birth was, 2005 and
How about this?
2003, and then this one is 71, so it's mom and son's.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And there's no,
She doesn't have ID either.
On the roster, what does it, can I see the roster with their name? What's the name?
We got Susan Ziegler and Noah and Aaron Fiercely.
Yeah, it just says you have called up overseas. You can see
Do
on
you,
this.
you think they're possibly, maybe she's married to?
No, it would say military.
It
See how
would say
these-
military.
Now, Kimberly says military on hers.
But it doesn't say on her application.
So Kimberly's will count. Kimberly says military.
Oh, Kimberly's did count. Kimberly's and Chris count.
Okay,
Susan, Aaron, and Noah do not.
okay.
Kimberly's did count and Chris Rudolph's counted.
Okay, yeah, and those see how they
This,
say.
is this
That's
information from,
the county
from
clerk's
the
office.
clerk?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two of these say military, and two don't say.
Yeah.
This one says overseas, so 3 out of those 5 that are highlighted. They overseas, the other 2 say military, so the military in all county,
Yes.
and the overseas
They
district.
included their IDs in only one ballot.
They're all doing this together, they were
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
matching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But each one, what each of them did.
Yes, when I.
and maybe they saw one of the races and thought, oh, I need to return a runoff ballot.
If they can
too.
do that, there, certain times they
For
can do
certain
that.
times, yes,
For
they
certain
can.
races.
Yes.
Of course, there's no runoff now.
Yes, we can go ahead and remake those now. So you're only remaking two, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Already.
Only remaining two.
Yes, it's one of those things that you think, oh, my God.
Yeah.
And you don't.
Well, and also, we haven't had the voter ID law for all that. So people could have voted to go that way and, thought they remembered how to do it.
Are the, when they get these ballots, don't they get the instruction that tells them how to do it?
Yes. They do. And Evelyn, can you pull me one of the rejected ones, their application?
The application?
Yeah, and their voter statement.
Did you want to try them?
Yeah. Let's do that.
You can see. That they've clearly marked that they're a US citizen. Their other options are active duty, or eligible spouse or dependent. If those
Yeah.
had been marked, we could have
Yeah.
not, we could have
Yeah.
accepted them with them, but yeah.
That section three, we would,
Yeah, it's,
they could,
it didn't
if
say.
you're a spouse or a dependent, and you want that space, you don't have to fill it out.
And it didn't say that in that, but I think it said it further down below, but it was the first. What's very important. Did not check the military box.
Yelling at you, Lacy.
Jennifer.
Oh, is that you?
Yeah, that was mine. That was mine. I'll
Uh-oh.
open that one.
So tomorrow we'll have what, a dozen votes? A dozen ballots? Give or take.
I think we'll have. That.
Okay. And whatever may come in the mail.
Yes. I need to be stamped as the duplicate. No.
We have a
Yes. Oh, okay.
Are we staying in the front of them?
You can stamp the front of it, it's already been run through, so.
We understand.
I don't know if it requires.
Yeah, this is the one that we looked at before, but we didn't want to say it, but you know, it's not.
Another one, yeah, it's the one. That's fine. Yes.
These have not been running yet, right?
No, these would be with the absentee one. For absentee, you only ended up accepting two, correct?
Yes.
Then I'm gonna go ahead and, prepare for tomorrow. Okay. Go ahead and open these out and have them ready and then put them in this ballot after.
Oh, okay. Good.
We'll make sure none of these have to be, remade. That was a well, you can take the rejected out because they're provisional now and that can go with, I mean, they're not provisional, they're rejected. They came after the death.
How many did we have come in for the death?
Right now, 11. And then see what easier to live in. Yeah, we set it all together. Yep. And then, did you write the names down of the rejected ones on that rejected list?
Yeah.
Okay, just check you on that.
I didn't write down all of the ones.
Those she has.
Okay, it was just those three.
Yes. Yes. I did talk to the absentee voters without the ID. They were worried that their ballot would be rejected for, like, does that mean I'm not gonna get one in the ballot?
Yeah.
And, no, that doesn't. Won't impact it. That talk to you.
This one? Oh, which paper wants to be easily read through.
Yes.
They've all been folded.
I know, that's what I was looking at. One of them, the back of it, looked, pretty smudged. Yes.
The ballots will count tomorrow.
Yes, it would be those, there should be 7 in here right now. And then if we get any more, then we will give it.
So we're not actually going to print out another report until tomorrow.
We're gonna print this one out to show that we ran the absentee or the election day and early vote
Okay.
provisional in. So. um, This way, though, we have record of.
Right, each step, yeah,
Counted.
and I get that, yeah, we need to be thorough about it.
Because we'll pull out this ballot as the.
Oh,
report
yeah.
and account for all of these.
Okay.
Okay, so my math showed 25846, and their new math showed 25846, 8753, 16, 945. Okay. So then that all balances with what we just. read in.
Do you know what the total number of rejected ballots is right now?
And yeah, this was-
I am, no, it's not on that. So we had. Yes, so we had 8 provisional ballots that were cast during early voting, and we accepted 4 of those. We had 36 provisional ballots cast during election day, and we accepted 9 of those. So, and then,
So let me just, I can see that we don't have a total. Right now. So my question is, I don't need the total. My question is, there are races in here that are, won by different totals. All this is showing is the number of accepted ballots. With rejected ballots, is there any formula in the system? Is there any way that we absolutely check every race to make sure there's not one that was affected by?
yes, so when we do the election day provisionals, you can see that I can look at the precincts, and I know the precinct relationships to the precinct relationships to the district relationships. So if we have a race that's close, we can go in and identify those ballots that are to be included or to be excluded. And we can tell if there's a precinct in here that might impact the outcome of the race.
Also, before, license, they want to continue a tax or add a tax.
Mhm.
That type of thing. You look at all,
Mhm.
you say you can, but the question is, do we?
Yes, so for instance, the Greenland one,
Yeah.
which was very close, we only had one. We only had, that one didn't count because they didn't have ID. We had two that were in there, one that could count, this one, this Arthur Fraley. And then one that, one that could have, but it was an ID one, so they didn't return their ID, so it was a no. So yes, so when it's close, we do, or I do, go back and look at the precincts to see if there's outstanding ballots that would impact.
And when you do that, do you make any kind of a record of it to put on the record? That it was
Only when it would impact the account. So for instance, we've had like a really close, city race for the Fayetteville, City Ward 4. And we went through to verify how many ballots were out that could impact it and how many ballots could count. So we do when it would change it. If it doesn't change it, I just leave it.
What do we do if we have one?
Then we wouldn't certify until until we knew that all the ballots had been accounted for.
And typically, we're just deciding whether ballots count or don't count, just it all together with provisionals. We don't know when we're looking at a ballot, whether it's
Right,
officially,
right.
which is the right way.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking in terms of, if someone, a voter or someone comes and asks the question,
Sure.
about a specific race, is that analysis of that on the record somewhere, or is it we have to pull everything out and show them what we did? I'm sure you've had that happen in your years.
Yeah, with that ward race, for sure, it was one, that we definitely looked to see how many ballots were out, because it was for a general election, where you have so many more provisionals. And the opportunity for a provisional to actually change the outcome of a race, yes, but what I do when I prepare this, because if anyone is wanting to look, we include the precincts. So you can, if you're looking for something in particular, you can look very quickly to find the precincts.
I mean, when this has happened before, I recall campaigns are typically involved.
Right.
Asking
Yes.
for the list of provisionals, right? And then sitting in the meetings and, seeing how we decide on those provisionals.
Right,
And
right.
I mean, somebody can FOIA the list of provisionals, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think campaigns, depends on the campaign, but can FOIA the list of provisionals and then can go canvass those people if they didn't show an ID and say, hey, you want your vote to count, or you know what I mean, like, and encourage them to go to the
Yeah.
courthouse and show it.
I think I'm a little further up the learning curve than I was a year or two ago.
Oh, no, yeah, it's good questions. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
But when we do have, like, what you'll see for the general election, we have broken it down before by districts to
Yeah.
figure that out. So, and another nice thing about the ballots being issued out of the poll books,
Oh,
in the past, we would rely on the supervisor to write the precinct on the outside of this, and so then you're just like, okay, I hope that's the precinct. But now, when they issue them out of the poll book, it prints exactly what ballot they did receive. So we can monitor it even closer than we've been able to in the past.
So we need this one initially.
The only race I thought of that was close was the annexation one.
That was close.
Yeah.
And there were some that were within, 40, 50 votes or something like that. I'm thinking maybe 100, I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I was looking through and just wondered, I hope the commission's time has.
No, and
All questions are good.
It's
No.
good to ask.
And for the general election, I mean, obviously I paid attention for it because I noticed the Greenland one. Because I
Right,
figured that was the closest. But for the general election, I'll, and I can redo this report so that it's by, close races. So that
Yeah.
we can see that too, as well.
Well, a lot of that, you sort of monitor that ahead of time, that this could be one that is gonna be a close.
Yeah, so like, for instance, when we did the recount with, the
Jody.
state rep, yes, for that
Earlier.
one, we went back and looked to see how many provisionals there were, and I think there was one provisional that had, it, yeah. So,
All right. Okay, other business before we adjourn? Nothing? Okay, we are adjourned. And we will convene in this room tomorrow at what?
at 1, and we'll run the ballots quickly, and then they'll have to make a, report, they'll have to upload to the state
Oh,
site, and
yeah.
then, but I have other documents for you to be signing while we're waiting for
Okay.
that.
That sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
See you tomorrow.